Hello, hello. Hope everybody is doing all right. I don't think Richard technically has shown his finds from the Chicago VC crawl yet. He did on the live stream, which he might just be using as his video. So I think technically, although I did share mine on Instagram, but I'm the last member of the Chicago VC crawl to actually do the video. It's because I didn't want to, but now I want to, so I'm gonna do it. Yeah, so myself, Mike Hubtunes, Vance, Zep Pearl, and Richard Kalamazoo went to the three, to my knowledge, newest record stores in Chicago, although I've now learned there are two more opening in September. So we'll do round two, maybe sometime in January, because September through the end of the year is pretty crazy for me. But if it works out, I'll let it work out. But yeah, Round Trip Records, Meteor Gem, and Graveface, aka TerraVision, were the three places we went. All really dope stores. I will probably rank them, although I enjoyed certain things about all of them, and I, maybe had some critiques on all of them as well. But yeah, I only bought 8 records the entire trip. 2 at the first store, 2 at the second store, and 4 at the last store. I started out slow at the first couple stores because I wanted to budget in case, I kept, finding wild shit. And really what that ended up being was the last store we went to really had the best stuff of the day. I think we'd probably all agree. But I left a bunch of stuff at the second store that I'm going to go get tomorrow. So, but yeah, so let's start with Round Trip. Really tiny store in the North Park area of Chicago, my old neighborhood. I mean, it's literally like you're walking into a dude's closet almost, and there's just like records all over the place. It's an interesting vibe for sure. He's got a super wide variety of stuff. Wide variety both in styles and wide variety in prices as well. Where I'm flipping through some records and I'm like, I feel like that is an unreasonable deal for this record. And then sometimes I look at that and I'm just like, that is just unreasonable. Which is why I didn't get a lot. There were a lot of things I pulled out and I was really curious about, but everything I wanted, everything I really wanted was kind of in that like $30 to $35 range, which when we're talking about used records and the first store of the day, after tax, 2 records like $70 is just like, I wasn't ready to drop that up top. If I could have gotten like 3 or 4 and it would have rounded out around there, but I left behind, a Sparks record, I left behind a Reese Chatham record, all stuff I may go back for at some point, but I did get 2. I'll start with the main one. This is the main one. Now my whole thing is, even if I find only one thing in a record store I want, especially if it's a new store, I try to find something else, just in case, so it doesn't look like, I mean, even if it was a Grail, I would still pick out a $1 record or something. I don't know, I feel like very into symmetry. I feel like I should always get 2 things everywhere I go, or an even number, or, I don't know, really nerdy about it. This is also how I end up spending more money than I need to. But I picked up this, and I was trying to, I didn't want to buy any compilations or jazz records, because all of my compilations and jazz records are currently in storage, so I'm not listening to them. And yet, the very first thing I bought of the day was a compilation. But it is one I've kind of had my eye on for a while, but this is called Avon Calling, the Bristol compilation. This is exactly what it sounds like. Compilation of British punk bands from the Bristol area. This is actually on Heartbeat Records, which I thought was primarily reggae, but may have just been general kind of punk and reggae, British music, etc. But there are guys, punk guys, and maybe rock guys too. Like, they can tell you, like, this compilation changed my life because it got me into so many bands. I wouldn't go it to that extreme for this particular compilation. What I will say is that there's very few compilations that I can really pinpoint to say like, okay, that's a record. That's a record I recognize as being a great comp. You know, from the punk vein, you've got Eastern Front, you've got Let Them Be Jelly Beans, both great records. This one is really cool because this is kind of that like mod punk, like that kind of power pop crossover that I'm really into. But if I'm being honest, I really bought this for one song, which is the band The Private Dicks is on this record, and they have a song called Green is in the Red. Private Dicks, one of those kind of short-lived British punk bands that only put out 7 inches. I think they did a compilation LP at some point, but also not particularly easy to find. But I think this may have been the first thing they appeared on, and I love that track so much. And as soon as I saw the record cover, I knew exactly what it was, and I said, all right, I'm gonna get this. So kind of broke my compilation rule, but really, really excited to have this. Other than Private Dicks, no bands immediately recognizable, at least to me, outside of just knowing them from this record. Glaxo Babies, Essential Pop, The Stingrays, Apartment. Maybe I know the excerpts from something else, but not to my knowledge. Anyway, really, really cool OG press that has this insane large poster of all the bands and everything. Really, 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 really dope. I was glad I had the original insert. I've not plugged this into Discogs yet. I actually haven't even listened to any of this stuff yet. We'll start rifling through those this weekend, actually, but have not played a single one of these yet. So anyway, I don't know what this usually goes for. I don't know if I overpaid. I don't know if I underpaid. I just know it was a price that I was willing to pay for something like this. Sometimes you just gotta get a punk comp every once in a while, you know? Anyway, and then for my second record, again, I didn't want to buy another like real expensive one, but I was flipping through, because he had a lot of bins that were just like unorganized, you know? It was just like, oh, here's my recent arrivals, and it's just a table full of records. So you kind of have to have patience, but you can find kind of diamonds in the rough through the patience. And so I picked this up. It's Adrian Belew, Lone Rhino. I just saw Adrian Belew. He was sick. And this kind of came from me getting really into King Crimson last year. I did my King Crimson deep dive, started really getting into that stuff. And honestly, over the last year, Discipline has far and away become my favorite King Crimson record. And I've obviously loved Talking Heads for years. So Adrian Belew is not a dude that's been unfamiliar to me, but I've never really like focused on him. I know this is one of his more regarded LPs, The Lone Rhino. So I think this was $8. We will add this one to the collection. I actually don't have any Adrian Belew King Crimson on vinyl yet, but has the original insert. It's a little tattered, but the vinyl does look clean. And yeah, and like I said, this was nice after just seeing him, I think, the week before we went out to dig, I want to say. Maybe 2 weeks before we went out to dig. Yeah, he was awesome. Just really, really, really good. But yeah, Retro Records, again, really good selection. Probably store all, do some Discogs stuff from, if I'm ever in that area. Maybe stop by, certainly. The next store was actually my favorite. I did not spend a ton in there because I know how much I could have. But again, I'm returning tomorrow. Meteor Gem Records, which is the type of store I've been waiting for in Chicago for a long time. It's all metal, all hardcore, all extreme music. There used to be a place called Metal Haven. I never got to go there. There's a place called Metal Works, I think, that's actually not too far from where I live, but I haven't been there yet. But Meteor Gem is all extreme music, and it's basically like, when I order a lot of metal records, I have to go through all these distros, right? Because they pull records from all the European labels and blah, blah, all this nonsense. So, when I found this place, Meteor Gem, and it's just like basically an in-person distro of all the metal music that I want to buy, it was sick. So I found 2 records I've been looking for a very, very long time, and I'll be going there tomorrow before the Deicide show. But I found the 2 records by Fuming Mouth, which is a death metal band. I want to say from Florida, but I am not confident in that. Not confident in that fact. But really, really dope death metal, kind of hardcore crossover. Two records I've been trying to get for a long time. They've come in and out of print, many, many, many different variants. But just never picked them up until now. They had both of them for a really, really, really good price. And the dude from Fuming Mouth just fucking beat cancer, which is sick. So go listen to Fuming Mouth, if for any reason, including or other than that. But this is their LP, The Grand Ascent. This is one of the hardest records I've heard in the last 5-10 years. Very, very dope. Gatefold. And like most cool metal is, this is on very tight colored vinyl. Kind of this blue-orange explosion deal. Really, really, really excited. There's kind of been a big underground death metal boom in kind of the metal and hardcore world. There's a lot of bands popping up every day. Fuming Mouth remains to be one of my absolute favorites of the boom. Been called Tumult. I also really like 200 Stab Wounds. Yeah, this record is dope. And then they have the EP, which I haven't listened to as much, but I do remember liking after streaming it. This is Beyond the Tomb, second record by Fuming Mouth. This one is on just a nice neon yellow. Very cool looking, but yeah, he had a lot of stuff and he did kind of my favorite thing, which I like at distros, is brand new records with slight quarter damage, selling for like, 10-20% under what they would normally sell for, which I think is how I got these, which are really, really, really killer deal. But yeah, just like tons of variants of like new metal releases, old metal releases. Yeah, a lot of stuff I've been looking for a while, but didn't necessarily want to pay like import prices for. So I imagine I'll be going back there quite a bit. The last store, Graveface, TerraVision, dude from Savannah, Georgia, who actually knows vinyl community member Tim Guthrie, which is how I found out about Graveface initially. I followed some of the Graveface records releases in high school, but not like too close. Just had a little pop-up store. I don't know how long it's going to be there, but that store was really like, here was the entirety of vinyl at the store. A rack that went about like this long, like 2 cubes long, and maybe about 3 cubes up, was one rack. And then there was like one that was maybe 1.5 times bigger here, and then another one of those here, and 2 more around the corner. That's the entire record store. So there's maybe a few hundred records in the entire store, if that. But it is all top quality shit. Like, I don't know if it's stuff he's just been hanging on to. I don't know if it's his personal collection. But like, I found essentially 3 grails there. Like 3 records I've been looking for a long time, and another record which I'll start with and then get to the real exciting stuff. But I mean, it was just one of those stores that was like curated for collectors by collectors. It's one of those places. There's another store like that in Chicago called Interstellar Space. Very similar vibe, where it's just like a dude who loves records selling cool records to other people who love records. So he knows the market. But yeah, I picked up 4 records. 3 of them are like long time been trying to get a hold of. This first one, I said to myself, since I'm hanging out with Richard all day, I need him to be my good luck charm, and I want to find one Zappa record. I have plenty, but I'm nowhere near his collection, certainly also nowhere near having a generally complete collection of the kind of core stuff. So they had some at Round Trip, but a little more than I wanted to pay. This one was right where I wanted to pay, and one I've been looking out for. Frank Zappa's Man from Utopia. I don't know a ton about this particular record. This is one of the Steve Vai ones. Ray White is on here, of course. Yeah, what else you got? Roy Strada, Bob Harris, Ike Willis, Bobby Martin, Tommy Mars. I know some of those guys. But yeah, one of his later records. Have not heard anything outwardly not good about this. But again, I'll just keep buying Zappa until I got pretty much everything. Nice custom inner sleeve. I believe this is Barking Pumpkin. Very nice clean press. Happy to have this in the Zappa collection. You know, if I did get any Zappa, I would have been fine, because again, I got plenty. But I was hoping with the big Richard Energy that I was going to be able to procure at least one. So I feel like that's a good one. And then yeah, these next three are just like killer deals for stuff that has just been missing from my collection for so long. Start with Dio, Sacred Heart, the third Dio solo record. I just need now an OG of Dream Evil, and then I'll have originals of all the first 4 Dios, which has taken me a long time to do. But yeah, I also need the last 2 Ozzy solo records, which are just astronomically expensive. But yeah, Dio, Sacred Heart. I feel like of the original Dio stuff, this one seems to pop up the most. But again, still not a particularly cheap record most places you find it. King of Rock and Roll, Sacred Heart, Rock and Roll Children, Hungry for Heaven, Fallen Angels. Can't go wrong with Dio, man. Original inner as well. Nice and clean on Warner Bros. Very happy with this one. He had a lot of cool metal stuff. I actually ended up passing like all the real metal heaters I found over to Vance, because I was like, if I keep pulling these out, I'm going to want all of them, and I cannot get all of them. So I'm not going to do that. This one is a record that I have actually seen in the wild in the past, but this was years and years ago. And again, all these records, you know, yeah, I could have gone in Discogs and bought them at any time, but that's not the fun of record digging, right? I saw this one in the wild once, years ago, for a steal. Passed up on it, never saw it again until now. Or if I did, it was crazy expensive. This is Southern Death Cult. This is the Cult, but their first record when they were under a different name. So yeah, much more, I think, like a much more punk edge to this. But been looking for this for a really long time, and again, because of that white cover, not an easy record to find in clean shape. This one is very nice on Beggars. Really stoked on this. I was bummed I couldn't make the Cult tour this year. They came through a few different times, and but I've at least seen them once. I saw them in 2012 or so after Choice of Weapon came out, which is a great record. Cult has a new record coming out. I'll be checking that out. But really stoked to find Southern Death Cult. And then this last one is like, this is one of my favorite bands that like very few people know, but Mike was actually really stoked when I pulled this out of the bin. And I was telling him like how much I love this band. This is a band I actually got into because of Tim Guthrie. He did a series on 4AD artwork. And this is one of the bands I was like, that band has a great name and like classic 4AD artwork. And I was totally sold. So I have a handful of material by this band, but this was one I was missing. This is Ultra Vivid Scene with Joy 1967 and 1990. This is Dream Pop. You know, if you like the less aggressive side of Jesus and Mary Chain or some of the other kind of guitar bands on the 4AD label, this is a really good record. Love the self-titled as well. But just this killer clean copy with both inserts, the fold out and the original inner. This was like a no-brainer. I kept like trying to put one of these back to, you know, make sure I didn't go too crazy, and I was like, there's no way. There's no. I've been searching for all 3 of these records for way too long. Had to do it to them. So anyway, that was the Chicago record crawl. I had a great time. It was the first record crawl I've done like that since 2014, I think, which I also did with Vance way back when. So it's good to get out, and I'm sure there will be more. I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel upcoming. Probably just hopping in and out, as I already am. Goodbye.